Well, hello. Well, man. I just couldn't wait to get to this point to talk about the topic that I had today to talk about. I mean, this topic. I'm just really getting excited about this entrepreneur thing. It's like, man, I got some people to talk to about business and about entrepreneur. Man, it's I just wish I could just kind of stay on here for hours and hours and just talk. Maybe I'll do a live and see how long that we can sit back and just conversate, and you can put comments down and just have some fun with it, and see what people got to say and what people want to talk about in being an entrepreneur. Man, I'm telling you, this topic is getting really good. You all know that I've been putting in some series. The first thing I talked about was vending and how you start a vending machine business. Now we are talking about a very interesting topic. It's about what business school won't tell you about entrepreneurship. They won't tell you about it. A lot of times things are people sell you the happy dreams and don't tell you the other hardships about starting a business, about being an entrepreneur. We are all on this theme to say, hey, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur, but not thinking the real defining word and the outcome of action about being an entrepreneur. Man, I'm telling you, it is really unbelievable. But let's get into it. Let's get past the chase. What I'm gonna be talking about today. I'm excited about this topic because I'm excited about just talking about entrepreneurship. Just some of the things that business school won't tell entrepreneurs. And maybe uh, they do, but not in an extreme way, maybe. And a lot of times we just try to understand the business and different things to get involved in, but not understand the aspects of, let's see, what word I want to use is the cliff falls of the different things, the hardships, because you have to be a really hard person to be able, you got to be able to take some licks. You got to be able to get in the ring, and you got to be able to take some things. Almost like being an entrepreneur is almost like being like Ali when he did his rope a doping. He let the person beat you until they got tired, until and that's where entrepreneur is. You keep knocking on doors till you get a yes. Unless Brown talked about letting no be your vitamin. And you continue getting no. You take them and you take them in, and you take them and get you a big tall glass of water. And you drink them in, and it just motivates you and say, "I know there's got to be a yes out here somewhere." So, man, this is great. I want to go ahead and get into this topic and talk about it. Today, I want to talk about people management. People management. This is some of the things that are not being told about people management when you're an entrepreneur. We all go through them many times. I have been with companies, and there is a lot of times a big risk in people management. One of your biggest gambles in people management in the business is sometimes you can spend money and get this employee with all the different things, and then all of a sudden that employee decides they want to quit. So you have to balance out is figuring out what you're going to invest in certain employees. And just got to have that instinct. I thought about a guy that I was listening to one time. He said that hiring is, you're in the unknown. You really don't know it. You're taking a guess. That's what it is. Hiring is just guessing. But firing is knowing. Then when you get ready to fire them, you know that, hey, they needed to be fired. Because then about what they're capable or can they handle the requirements of this job. So this is some of the things that are a big gamble into dealing with the thing that said if you're lucky, you'll find a few people who truly believe in your vision. You're going to find a few people that are doing it. You got to sell them a vision, sell them some things that maybe they are wanting to believe of the business and the motto, because you think about franchisees, sometimes their employees come in and they change the process. They want to change the system and do it the way they say, no, this is the way we got it set up. This is the way we're going to follow it. And so these are the things that are visions that McDonald's started out with, this vision about having processes. And then it just took on over to different companies. Far as I know, McDonald's started that processing thing with the employees. Each employee had something to do, and it just worked in that way of growing the business, and people was following that signature move that they had. Also, as they grow to understand you and your mission, a new challenge emerge. The fear of losing key team members begin to creep in. How do you keep them motivated? This all of the mental things you have to go through is you got these employees, and how can I keep them motivated? This is a good employee, he's a good worker, and you got to think about some of these employees deal with things on the outside of their business. They dealing with different things. Emotionally, spiritually, they're different dealing with things. And so what we have to do is try to position them in the right position, because you got to remember that if that employee doesn't stay on, then you have to cover that spot. And you are the fault because you hired that employee. So I usually, when that happens, I take full responsibility and say, hey, that was my fault. Or these decisions you got to make with employees by giving them their hours, giving their wages if they're worth them wages, and these are things that you have to deal with. You see about that in the sports arena is when these professional players get in, and once they get all that money, they just quit. They just get tired of doing the things that they was hired to do, and that's a risk that you have to take. And then the question is how do you keep them motivated? Now just think about that. Put that in the back of your mind and think about, what you're going to do once you get into this entrepreneurship. Not only that, it's some of the things that we didn't learn that. How can we handle that? By taking psychologist class. How do you ensure they stay for the long haul, especially in an early stage startup where resources are limited? Your money is limited, and you need someone to stay in the game in the long haul so you can be able to jump off this thing. Because just think, if you just started off, you got this money invested, and all of a sudden they quit, then now you got to cover for what you're doing plus what they need to be doing. And so how do you fix that? These are questions that are not being over the table to let you know about that in business and in business school. Yet while investing in people is crucial, you can't afford to build your company solely around individuals. You can't. These are some of the things that are not being told in school, because it's really a guessing game, really. You trying to figure it out and all these things, hoping that you make the right decision. And then I think it comes with experience, because once you begin, you can pretty much walk up and you can know when a person is going to stay for the long haul, when it's not. So and that's what I think, because I've been in it for a while and hired a lot of contractors in my business, and guess what? I kind of knew exactly if they was going to stay for the long haul. So I didn't invest in money in them of being an employee. I actually just let them be a contractor. You're responsible for all your independent needs, is buying your insurance and health insurance and 401k and saving, these things that being a contractor, that's what they're doing. So, I would suggest you talk to one of your financial planner or something like that, because I'm not a professional in that, but I'm just telling you some experiences that I have been in. Also, um, systems and structures must be in place. Them are things that they have to, you have to learn too about systems being in place. That's some of the things that I'm pretty sure schools don't tell you about. Business schools don't tell you about that. They'll just pretty much tell you how to build a business, and you got to think about all other things around you mentally. So these are some of the things that mentally that are not being told. The tricky part is finding the balance, ensuring people feel frustrated while also implementing processes that ensure sustainability. Sometimes the shift can be misinterpreted. I have been, as me being a distributor, walking in and listening to you, a lot of employees just complaining about everything and anything. I mean, they get on one job and say, I'm about to leave one job, and half time you see them, they want to sit down and they just don't want to do anything. Or you try to figure out, what can I do to get this employee to work or to be motivated to like their job? They're just like tired, I want to work 4 hours. I don't want to work 4 hours. I need more hours, but I don't want to show up. Just these things that you're not learning them in school, but you have to go through the experience and learn them. So all these things that I'm talking about is experience that you have to go through, that no business schools can really teach you all that. This is something you're going to have to go through. Uh, so others may struggle to involve at the same pace as you, and creating friction. So there's sometimes when you're dealing with employees, it's a lot of times you can't please them. There becomes friction, especially when you used to spending more time with this employee, and now you not being able to see them as being an owner, and then you seem to see the distance from them as they're acting funny because you don't have time to spend time talking with them all day. And so then it becomes friction. A lot of times some of them will quit because they feel like you taking notice of only them. I mean, not them no more, but you taking notice of the other employees. And so, it's a balance. I'm telling you, it's a balance. I've been going through that. It's dealing with employees and how much time you can do it. Even leaders and people that are in business, you all gonna deal with that. Especially when you are a manager and you got this time. Now I got to train some people. I don't have time. You already know your job. Can you just do your job? And so they want to have that relationship with you. And sometimes you may not have that relationship anymore because you studied building. Once you start building, you're getting further away from certain employees that you already hired because they already got a place they need to do, so you don't have time. But I suggest that you just pop up and say, hey, how about let's go eat lunch, just talk and explain to them a lot of that stuff. But these some of the things that I have put together and trying to help you to understand about some things that you're not getting from business school, but that, hey, the University of Stewart Snacks is here. So maybe that would be a good podcast, University, Stewart Snacks University. Just talk about snacks. What you think about that? So look, thank you all for just joining me. I really appreciate you taking out time to check me out and listen to my YouTube channel. Hey, just take time to subscribe to my channel if you like the content and you want to know some of the things. Hey, I'm still finishing off of this entrepreneur things that business schools don't teach entrepreneurs. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe now, like and share some of this information so people can be able to understand and to know some things that they need to do as being an entrepreneur, or some things they need to know as being an entrepreneur, the mentalness that's going to be in their life. So, hey, thank you all for joining me. Hey, take time. I don't know if I told you my name yet, but I'll tell you again. My name is Kirkland. My business, Stewart Snack. What I do is I sell snacks. That's in a vending machine. That is in a store that I'm driving to and delivering to, or I'm selling it online. Hey, I'm trying to change this system around, and then to be able to get these snacks to these consumers out here. And so, guess what? I have to shift and to do different things different all the time, and that's upgrade. You all have a good one. We'll have a show about that. Okay, bye bye. See you later. Thank you.